It's been good. But with 2 days home this week, I'm like, I got up at 3:45 yesterday morning and this morning and bang out 2 or 3 hours worth of computer work, get my stuff done. And then it's like, what do you guys want to do today? We want to fish. I'm like, all right, let's go fish. I've been making pancakes at breakfast on the Blackstone. And yesterday we watched a movie at 2 p.m. We like turned on the TV and Twisters was on Amazon Prime, the new Twister movie. I was like, okay, kids, buckle up.
Buckle up.
Just, like middle of the afternoon on a Monday, I got this. So anyway, it's been good to get to spend some time with them and not, I'm internally panicking, but externally it's nice to relax. So
the inside is just cannot take it.
I'm like, I should check my phone right now. I need to check my phone. But you know what? I went all day and it was good. So anyway.
I went all day. It was good. I'm fine. Everybody's fine.
Everybody's fine. Nobody panic.
Yeah, it turns out literally nothing happens when you leave your phone.
Nope.
For a little while.
Yep.
I've been experimenting with that lately. I think I went.
That's your life, bro. You've been experimenting with that. That's been the way you've been for 10 years.
Yeah.
You don't get a call
because
back.
That's the way that we're supposed to be.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
But I've
I
been
left
trying
my
something
phone
new.
for
I'm like, hold on.
15 hours or something the other day.
How long?
Overnight. I was asleep most of the time. 15.
Oh, 15 hours.
Yeah. Like I think I put it away at like,
what are you doing?
I know it was wild. It felt really rebellious. I think I put it away at like 5 p.m. and then like didn't get it again until like after I'd eaten breakfast and like gone for a walk or something. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock.
11 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
We know Paul's morning routine takes about 3 hours. He's got to stand for an hour barefoot in the grass. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That's hateful. I'm stopping.
I haven't done that in a while.
Honestly, Paul and
it's that time of year. The sun's out.
Yeah, it is out.
It is that
sun in that.
It is time to get the toes in the grass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was a good laugh. Thank you for that.
At Paul's expense. We're really like who's
Logan just could
really
on? This gone.
Yeah. Who's the joke really on? But Paul over here living his best life, or me over here slaving away. Like I make fun of Paul, but it's like
internally panicking because you don't.
Jokes
have your
on
phone.
you. Yeah, jokes on you.
Yeah. Isn't it funny all this stuff that we tell clients as coaches to do?
Yeah, and then it's so hard to do it ourselves.
Yeah,
100%.
Right.
Oh man,
yeah,
it's a good view to like look through, like when you're struggling with something. It's like, what would I tell somebody else to do in this situation? And like oftentimes it's not the first thing that you want to do. Like it's usually like far from it. But it's like, what advice would I give somebody else if they were struggling with this? It's like, oh crap.
Well, that's the benefit of community too, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you can give yourself that advice, or you can have a community. And there's been, dozens of times for me anyway, because I'm easily offended, in which like, Doug or you, or we have like a hard conversation and like, nope, they're wrong. Nope. That these idiots. And then like 2 days go by and I'm like, okay, they're right. And I needed that. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, it's the internal conversation that you have with yourself, but that's the importance of like, if you don't have other people around you calling you out on that kind of stuff, how do you know how to have the internal conversation? Am I doing the thing that they called me out on or not? You know what I'm saying? Well, if you don't have people calling you out, then it's like, I just don't know how to get better.
Dude, I love that, because I think in today's world, a lot of people don't have that. And one of the reasons is this, I don't know what to call it, outlook, if you will, of that would be quote unquote traumatic for some people to hear those kinds of things, right? They could not take it.
Oh, I could for sure sue you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But for real, like people get their feelings hurt big time. And like you were saying, the hardest thing, or the thing about those times, getting through those blah moments, is the last thing you want to do is the first thing you probably should do to get past it. And usually we do not do that. We try about 80 other things before we're like, oh, fine. All right, I'll do it. But it's I've learned that I just go to that hard thing first because it gets so much easier. After, and once you train yourself to do that, it's just a habit at that point. You get good at doing
it does get
things you don't like, and life gets a lot easier at that point.
Well, I think that's some of the fad with ice baths, right? Like that seems to be the rage now, is that are there health benefits? For sure. It's not a miracle, but a lot of people like it for the mental toughness aspect, and so like, hey, like I think that there's a value in that. Like it's not going to save you from anything, but having to do something hard on a somewhat regular basis that you naturally don't want to do, like, cool, ice bath, like it works for you.
Yeah, I dig it. And in today's world as well, life is a lot easier. Life is not that difficult. It can be very, very easy if you want it. If you want it to be, you really don't have to do much. We talk about that at schools, these, camps and clinics that we put on or attend and help out at. It's just a lot of these kids, not being rude, but they're just not tough. They just haven't had to do hard things. They haven't front flipped over the handlebars of their bike. They've been sitting there playing Xbox on the couch, totally different upbringings, but it makes sense when we start getting into, it's kind of wild that football is as popular, you know what I mean? That so many people are good at football and able to get that. Cause that's tough. Like that's
changed though. Like,
I guess you're right.
I get frustrated even watching football now. Just because, it's way different than what it used to be.
Well, I mean,
how do you mean that?
So I want to say, like, it's for fair reasons. Like, the athletes are way bigger, stronger, faster now.
Right.
So, like, it is dangerous. Like, I mean, like, these guys are lethal weapons in their own bodies. But like, some of the play, like you don't even have to go back that far. Go back 10, 15 years ago and watch some of the highlights that they would show on ESPN. They would be penalty flags now, almost every single one of them. And so, like, I think that turns a lot of people off, or at least it turns me off, that like it's quote unquote gotten soft. But like I said, to kind of verify that, it's like these guys are
they're machines today.
Yeah,
they're actual equipment.
Yeah, they've been training since they were 6.
That's another thing. They've been
they're in the weight room. They're free. Not that. I mean, they've always been professional athletes, but I think now, mind you, I don't watch football, so it's really easy for me to, I've been to a
Logan's
few games.
over here. Yeah, sports.
I've been to a few games in person. And it's freaking violent.
Oh yeah.
It is like, it's violent. And so I guess I don't watch enough to really have a good opinion, outside of the fact that I think any kind of evolution of the sport that steers us away from long-term brain injury is a win. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many professional football players have gone on to really struggle and commit crazy crimes against themselves or other people after their careers because regulations weren't in place that monitored that. If that means that we're getting soft, so I'm soft. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it's like any kind of regulations that can help with that, because we see it obviously in the rodeo world as well. And so
it's also a ton of money in the NFL. All those players are worth a big dollar amount. Yeah, they're an investment. They're to these franchises. So I get them wanting to protect the franchise and the investments and stuff like that. But I know they put in rules. That you can't go and earhole anybody anymore. You can't you can't hit. Basically, it needs to be below the waist where you tackle them, which I think, like you said, dude, that's great. But I think what Paul is going towards is a lot of times that gets a little bit same in any kind of human judged event. Period. There is going to be a little room for error, and it's all about how that person perceives what just happened in front of them, so it gets tough. But I agree with both sides. What I want to go back to something. One of you guys said they've been playing this since they were 6. Who said that?
I mean, probably I say a lot of stuff I don't remember.
With all the things that we know about CTE, about injuries, training, football, has had that information for a long time. I mean, really, that's where a lot of these studies began, is with football. So rodeo, very, very much in its infancy of strength and conditioning and the actual facts and theories that should be utilized for training as an adult, nonetheless, as a child. We have development, quote unquote, leagues. However, how do you guys think those differ from what we're seeing in this development side of other sports that are more, I don't want to say more developed, but they're more established. They have been around for a lot longer on a professional level than rodeo has. I think that parents, young athletes, all have the right intentions in mind, and they want to be doing these things to get better, because you need to be started at a young age. Hence, like the mini bronc riding stuff, the mini bulls, junior rodeo. I want to know your thoughts on all of it. What do you think? Where do those stand? What is our best way to move forward for these young kids and keep them in the sport? Because I feel like we see a lot of what could be talented athletes at a very young age, and then all of a sudden at like 15 or 16, they just disappear. I think I know why that happens, but I want to hear what you guys think about the future, where we're at now for the youth of rodeo, what they should be doing, how parents can kind of take the approach of maybe looking at these other sports and saying, how are they doing this? And even on other sports, look at some of these young guys that are at the NFR right now, really young. And you don't have to like how they act, but their performance wise, like Rocker and other people like that, young kids, 18, 19, making the finals, Cooper Cook, what did they do differently? And how can kids and parents build from that?
I think we're entering the peak of the bell curve, where it's a learning. It's going to be really hard to explain this for listeners without a visual representation, but like imagine a bell curve.
Use your fingers.
So like on the front end of the bell curve, it's low, and then it starts to go up. You're getting more education, and
I'm sorry.
Why are you doing that
idea? I'm sorry. Don't use your fingers. I can't. I hope people are watching this on YouTube or whatever.
Doug keeps messing up my train.
Okay. The bell curve. I'll stop.
Okay, so bell curve. Okay, let me talk about football first. So like football started out like you start playing. I'm talking like way back in the day, decades ago. You play more in your late adolescence, late teenage years. There's semi-pro leagues, there's college ball, there's the pros. So like it's all later stage development.
Logan, quit.
Somebody has an idea what would be cool. Like let's take these little 5 and 6 year old kids and we'll put them in helmets and shoulder pads and we'll make them run into each other. That would be fun to watch. And so they do that. And then they turns out they end up hating football by the time they're in middle school because they got their block knocked off 15 times a season. And then they just die out and they don't want to go anywhere anymore. Now we're seeing a shift again where, okay, hang on, let's, in these early learning stages, let's remove the competitiveness a little bit. Let's try flag football. Let's let them fall in love with the game first. And then they can graduate on when in their high school and college years to playing more contact sport. We're in the peewee football stage for rodeo right now. Mini broncs, mini bulls. We're trying to recreate the professional side of the sport with little kids, and really it's just entertainment for the adults is all it is. It's limiting their development because they're getting, just like in football, they're going to get their blocks knocked off 15 times a season and they're going to end up hating it by the time they're adolescents. We need to shift back to what we did 30 years ago. Kids need to get on steers. Kids need to rope the bale, the hay bale dummy. Like we need to kind of dial it back a little bit, let them grow, let them learn, let them love the game first. And then when their bodies are developed, we can go full speed.
Guys, rodeo season is picking up. It's time to gear up with the best in the business. Beastmaster Rodeo is fully stocked and ready to get you dialed in for the rest of the season. If you're going to ride or compete at your best, you better get gear that works as hard as you do. They just launched their new Pro Gel line. This includes their neck rolls, rig and handle pads, Brazilian and American bull rope pads, and tailbone pads for all you rough stock riders. This stuff is a game changer. It's built to absorb impact, provide unmatched comfort, It's going to help keep you in the game and in the arena longer. And y'all, they're not stopping there. They have new boots, shaps, dummies, all are rolling out this season, so you can keep pushing the limits with the best in durability and performance. And as a listener to the Champion Living podcast, you get the exclusive hookup. Use our discount code Champion Living, all one word. Going to save you 10% on your entire order. Y'all, don't settle. Gear up for the best. Gear up with the best. BeastmasterRodeo.com. Check them out.
Mm-hmm. I could not agree more. And I was trying to organize my thoughts. So buckle up, because you guys know that I have a lot to say about this. And I want to say it in an intelligent way, which is going to be a feat for me, especially. I agree wholeheartedly on this idea of over specialization of 9-year-old rodeo athletes that do nothing else. And that's all they do. I agree that it is for entertainment purposes. I also think that probably somewhere between 20 to 40% of the time, it is for gratifying a parent's dream that wasn't realized by them. And so it's this forcing of, that's what we do. We rodeo. I also see a trend of this in this over specialization of rodeo in going every weekend. You're hauling your 6 and 8-year-old every weekend in a $250,000 rig, and you're going all over the country. And A, you're going to burn them out. B, you're going to go broke, or you already are, just to keep up with the Joneses. Ask me how I know. And you are like, they're not going to love rodeo at the end of it. Does that make sense? So I agree that we need to reassess. Now, I love that, like the steer, saddle bronc or bareback especially is what I'm going to speak to, because like as somebody that works with a lot of bareback riders and a lot of saddle bronc riders, that's kind of like my realm. I love that it can get people that may not be interested in bareback riding. It can get them into the sport at a younger age. And the goal then is to maintain them. I think that it's being done incorrectly. There's no proper way that we can ride a team roping steer, or we can ride a pony or a donkey or anything like that with proper fundamentals at 8 years old. There is a special way that you have to learn how to get by those animals so that you can go to the junior NFR and make your daddy happy, and maybe he'll finally say, I'm proud of you, right? Like there's a special set of fundamentals that you have to have that do not translate to bucking horses. And all of a sudden, there's one summer, there's 3 months between you getting on steers and now you're getting on bucking horses. And we're just sending them off to be cow killed when they become freshmen in high school. I think that junior rodeo is fantastic. I think that youth rodeo is awesome. And I'm going to encourage my kids to youth rodeo if they show interest. And we are going to rope the dummy, and we are going to ride some calves if we want to. We're going to ride some steers with a bull rope, and we are going to enter the goat tail untying and anything that they can do in rodeo that does not directly relate to riding rough stock outside of the steer riding. Why is steer riding or mini bull riding different? And in my mind, I'm not a bull riding coach like Paul is or Tyler, but in my mind, the fundamentals of getting by a steer seem to be relatively similar in the bull riding as they would be if you were riding a bull, right? The fundamentals you can learn. You could go to a Cody Custer school or go to a Josh Frost school, or you could do the Frost Online Academy, and you could learn those fundamentals, and it would translate to a steer. And so you can actually build good habits from a young age that will translate over. That's not happening in the bareback and saddle bronc steer riding, with one exception. I'll wrap up with one exception: the Holsteins, the big Holsteins that you can pull tight and that just hop up and down, and they're slow and they're not super heavy, and they go more often, they straight away or they make a big circle. That right there, you can actually get a hold of with your feet. You can stay back. They can drive their hips. They can practice. An 11 or 12 or 13-year-old could practice well on something of that nature. So I think that what we need to do and what we're missing, this is my final point, is we're missing sport. We are missing play. if you go and look at like what kids are supposed to do, they're supposed to play. And over the last 100 years, we've decided to start taking that away from them. We're going to make them sit in a desk for 9 hours. And if they don't sit still, we're going to give them medication to get them to shut up. And we're going to do all these things. We're taking play away. Recesses have gotten shorter and shorter. Lunch breaks getting shorter and shorter. Now there's homework, and now there's less and less play. And there's also mom and dad both have to work. So there's less and less time for kids to be involved in sports. And so there's less activity. And what changed my mind about all of this is when I learned that there's such a great portion of your athletic development that is determined in adolescence before you hit 12. Really, in those formative years, those first few years of life, time you start walking to 5, the activities that you do in that time frame will depend how athletic you are when you're 28. And so instead of us just sticking a rope in their hand, because they don't need to play a team sport, or because we love rodeo, or because we didn't accomplish anything in rodeo, so now we're going to make our kids the next Trevor Brazil. Like, I would be totally okay if all of my kids said, hey, rodeo's cool, but I think we're just going to play football for a while. And if we didn't go to a junior rodeo again, and if my kids get to flipping through the photo album one day with the 2 good photos I have in my whole career, and they're like, at 16, Cannon's like, hey, I think I want to ride bareback horses. But he's playing football, or he's wrestling, or he's doing all those things. He's in pretty good shape. He's athletic. And I get him on the spur board and he picks it up. Like, I would have no problem with him getting on some bucking horses at 16 or 17 years old at my house. And the odds of him being successful, making a living riding bucking horses after starting at 17 years old and going to the NFR by the time he's 22 or 23 are way better than average. In fact, way better than if he started when he was 9. So that's where I think, let the kids play. Let them develop athleticism. Encourage them to join sports teams. Encourage them to do those things. I'm not saying rodeo's wrong, because you're never going to rope the dummy too much as a 9-year-old. But like, let's not just make that everything. Encourage them to play. Encourage them to, and then as they get older, if you're interested in rough stock events, especially the bucking horse riding, like, pump the brakes for a second and let's wait. So that's my long-winded spiel. I'm sure it's not everything. So I just want you to know I could have gone for another 20 minutes.
I have no doubt about that. I had a different train of thought and wanted to cross that over to something else, in the sense of guys, girls that have been rodeoing for a long time. In the same sense, like, don't forget to play. Don't forget to go do some other things. Rodeo shouldn't be your all day, every day. You only think about that thing. I know you think that amount of dedication will get you to where you want to go, but I'm telling you right now, it's too much. You can't obsess over that one thing. You have to have things that decompress you from that thought process, and that it's pressure. You put stress on yourself when you're doing these things, whether it's good stress or bad stress. It's stress, and you have to deal with that. The body has to process that. And I was just thinking back to my own, if you want to call it a career, I made it not fun a lot. I made it way too serious. Yeah. And it's wild to look back on, the few horses I got on 7 years later, and I had fun on every one of them, and it was a blast, and I rode better than I ever had. And just sitting there looking back, it's like, dang, I wish I would have known I needed to go have some fun and do some other things besides just obsess over this goal, which I thought at the end would get me to where I wanted to be, because all the stories you hear, that's pretty much what happens, right? You put the work in, you work out, you eat, sleep, breathe it, and eventually you'll be a world champ or whatever you want to be. And there's just so much more to it. And even in business, today's world, like this version of me, I've got to have disconnection time, because it makes a better me. Like, I have to have it, or else I get grumpy. I get sour about everything, So it's just, there's so much that goes into this. And I love your guys' responses were right on the money. Like, for any parent, for any athlete listening, but we were catering that mostly to young athletes and parents, like I said, but all you guys and girls that are going, there's something to be taken from that for sure. Paul, you gonna say something?
A quote I've been pondering lately is you have to separate who you are from what you do. And I think what what you just said, Doug, summarized that perfectly. Like not only in your rodeo career, but also like just in your business life or in life in general. Like there is life outside of what you quote unquote do. And so like you had fun on horses. Once you had established yourself, you knew who you were as a human being, and then you could go get on horses and you could have fun because there was separation. When you become so entrenched in what you do, and that is you blur the lines between who you are and what you do, there is no break, there is no separation, there is it's you have to be on all of the time, and our bodies can't, our bodies and our brains really, like I don't think they're built for that. Like there's a time to hunt and there's a time to sleep and there's a time to rest and there's a time to plant and there's a time to harvest. Like we have to live seasonally, or at least seasonally, even within like a specific day. Like there's a time to be on and there's a time to not.
But I mean, that's what we do as rodeo athletes, and the work that it requires just to get by. I'm not talking about the grind. I'm talking about feeding animals, right? And keeping horses legged up. And it's a lifestyle. It's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle. And so it becomes an identifying factor, and we start to wrap our identity in what we've accomplished. And so like everywhere we go, these are our name tags. You know what I'm saying? Like you go in a room with a bunch of rodeo people you never met and you scan belt buckles, like, well, who's like, am I like, where do I rank in this room of people as far as, am I better than others? And that's where we get our self-worth from, you know? And that's one of the things that like I've been really convicted about lately, is making sure that young men, especially that I'm around, understand that they have a place no matter what their buckle says, even if they haven't won one, and that it's actually not healthy or good for us to get that so consumed by anything that it becomes not only like you said, it's not just what we do, it's who we are. And that's a powerful word, even for a strength coach, even for a business owner, even for a stay-at-home mom. You know, man, you are more than what you are doing daily. And that's a hard pill to swallow for me, especially.
It is. That's some real talk, dude. That's good stuff.
If you listen to this, you can Venmo me $100. You didn't even get on the couch.
Cheapest therapist you'll ever get. And also like 50% on the if it's going to work or not.
That's 25%.
Get what you pay for.
Hey, I don't want to change, like, I don't want to drastically change the subject, but I started playing around, and that is a mini Uno card. That's not even, look, it's not even like a full size one. And so I started
your bow?
Yeah, I started taping them up. That was my second shot right here. You can see at the top where my first one went over there. Real close, but it was just at 20 yards. But it makes it, you know, talking about disconnecting, I was getting to the spot where, I mean, I about wore out that $30 bag target already. And I was getting to the spot where like, it was just kind of like, it wasn't as exciting to shoot because I'm just like still like going for the same things. And so I saw that card. It was laying out in the grass. One of the kids left it out there, and I thought, oh, I wonder how hard that would be to get. And so I just like taped it in a random spot on the bag. And it was like, I'm like, yeah, that's how I'm practicing for a little while now. That's like my new thing. I'm going to start taping these little mini Uno cards to the bag and see how close I can get.
Hui has the best gear because it's tough. It's durable. It withstands the test of what we put it through. And that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. Lacey's gonna be like, "What's this $300 charge from Amazon?" Logan buys 8 cases of Uno cards.
Uno cards and 2 new bag targets.
And he'll use 5 of them and then get bored of those and then have to pick it up.
Get something new.
Yeah.
Lacey's wedding ring, hanging it from a string out there.
Something smaller. Yeah, that's a great idea.
One of our clients messaged me the other day and was like, "So, Champion Living, like 3D shoot together, like as a group one day?" I'm like, that would be awesome. And I got the wheels turning. And I think next year we'll try and do that like a tack shoot down by you guys somewhere in the southern part of the US where everyone can link up and we could just go shoot and have a good time, because I'm finding out that like 90% of the people I know are into archery, even girls, which is awesome. More power to you guys, and more the merrier for everybody to come and do this. But it's a great way to disconnect, gets you in nature. And I just think it's cool that so many of these people that we work with do this as a hobby. And the more that we've been, open about sharing it, they're like, dude, us too. This is awesome. Let's link up and do something.
I highly regret talking about my bow hunting or my bow shooting journey on here, because I get 17 text messages a week like, hey, don't do that. You're an idiot. Like, like I had one and it's awesome. I mean, I appreciate it. But that episode where I talked about like protracting my shoulder and pushing it forward, and I had somebody who was like, I told you when you got the bow not to do that. You're an idiot, and I'm like, thank you. Yes, I know you told me. I'm aware. I didn't know that I was doing it. But Lacey yesterday, like speaking of women shooting bows, so Lacey yesterday, she's like, can I hold your bow? I'm like, sure. So I had like shot an arrow and I like walked down to the target to go get it, and I like pull the arrow out. She's like holding it, and then
I thought you said you were gonna got to the target and she's about
she's got one
wrong. She's like, obviously the release is on my wrist still. I'm just walking down to get my arrow, and she's like gonna hold the bow, and she's like, oh, I can't pull it back. And I was like, whoa. Oh, I'm fixing to karate chop you right in the ovary. Don't pull on those strings. Like I had a meltdown, and she was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, you'll freaking ruin it. She's like, well, I wasn't gonna fire it. I just wanted to see if I could pull it back, and then I was gonna let it off gently. I'm like, yeah, let it off gently. Let me know how that goes for you. Put the bow down. Step away from the bow. Like I had a bit of a meltdown. I had to apologize later. I was like,
not to make it a rag on the wives. Yes, but the day that I got my takedown recurve, I get it put together and I get it strung up. I set it down and I like turn around to like grab something, and Heather's already got it drawn back, and pop, snap. She dry fired it, and I was like, are you kidding me? You're gonna break this thing, and I haven't had it put together for 2 minutes.
I just love so much that it's not any of the kids reaching in to grab it. It's the absolute adults, the most adult in the house.
Curiosity will kill the kids.
I could do this.
Oh man.
It happens. You will.
No injuries, no brokenness.
That's
but
good.
But yeah, it was.
That's funny. It's it's really easy to mistake a bow for like a toy.
Well, yeah, you see a bow, you just want to,
and you can shoot it at the house. Like you can do all. It's you can't do that at most places with a rifle or a pistol, right? You can't just go shoot it outside in your backyard. And people think that it's not as dangerous as. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now that it is just as dangerous. And
it was the deadliest weapon for millennia.
Yes, forever. Time. And I've seen what it does to animals. And I'm telling you right now, it's equally as damaging as a bullet.
I had no idea how intricate it was. You know what I'm saying? Like day one, I'm gonna go over to Wes's house and like just and learn how to shoot a bow. And like I didn't shoot a bow at all. And I quickly realized that they're very, very, very specific. They're very set up exactly for you and your draw length and your like. And so we didn't shoot a bow at all. And so the same thing now. Like when Lacey's like, "Can I hold your bow?" I'm like, I mean, sure,
you can hold it.
And then next thing you know, she's like trying to draw it back with her fingers. She's got like 2 fingers around the string. She's got.
I've had guys do that with my bow at the house.
What is wrong?
What are you doing? Yeah, first of all, you're never gonna pull that back with your fingers.
But I had no idea. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I had no idea when I started. You just don't know. So you just don't know what you don't know. But I sure am addicted. Blake Surratt
asked me about the shoot.
Oh, really? Yeah, he messaged me yesterday. He's like, "You've got to come to Weatherford and let's go to this 3D deal or whatever." I'm like, dude, that would be so much fun.
You would have a blast. It would change up, instead of shooting at that regular target and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah, fun thing. What are you guys doing in the gym recently? You working out? I've been back after it. I'm finally kind of my body does not feel that great, but I feel mentally good about training. And I don't know why my joints have been so achy. I'm 35. I guess this is just how it's going to be. But just kidding. I've been off all of my supplements that I usually use, and when you're young, it doesn't affect you that much. And it might be the lack of sleep. It might be all of the extra stressors in my life right now, but it happened quick. Maybe didn't take them for 2 weeks. And I'm sitting here going, whoa, what is going on? And so I've been moving, which has been helping. But then I jumped the fish oils back up, and then we don't work with First Form anymore, but I take that mobility stack, and it's the best thing I've ever found for how my joints will feel. So I'm back on that, and the heavy doses, two in the morning and then 2 in the evening on the mobility. So I've been doubling up on that. 3 days on. My knees this morning felt way better.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kind of cool that it's cool to see a supplement work and feel it work, because a lot of times it's just kind of like, hey, that was nice. It tasted good, but I'm not really sure unless it's pre-workout, and you're like itching your, whatever.
Scratching your face off.
Yeah.
It's all those proprietary blends where they've got 50 milligrams of 24 different things in there. So it's like not enough to actually make a difference on anything.
And then 200 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
But as for the gym, I've been doing one of Logan's programs, which I like to think was inspired because of me, but
it 100% was, because
it's awesome.
We all get in ruts in our programming. We get in ruts in life where like our sentences become similar, or maybe we have like that thing that we say all the time and it changes every 6 months or year based on the people we're around. Well, the same thing happens for coaches in programming, or at least in me. And I know you guys have said that same thing happens to you, in which you try some new exercises and all of a sudden it just becomes the thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, all my clients need this. And so next thing you know, you're programming a lot of people the same way, which they'll all benefit from. And so we get in those ruts. And I was talking about one of my clients that's a meathead like me, and was talking about him lifting, and Doug was like, you need to put him in some of this and make him do some of this, and I'm like, I haven't done those myself in years. Like I've just not gotten back to that. And some of that would be wildly beneficial for him. And so I started writing this program with him in mind, and I got done with it, and it was like chef's kiss. I was like, I have to do this. Yeah. And so I did, I think the first 2 days, and I texted Doug and I was like, you need to look at this program. And he like looked it over pretty much right away and texted me back. He's like, yep, I think I'm going to give that a whirl. So it's been, it's been fun. It satisfies everything for me, because I do get to lift heavy in it. Like I want to lift heavy, I do get to lift heavy. You can lift as heavy as you want to, like you'll get out of it what you put in. But then there's also a lot of the accessory type stuff, the dead bug floor presses, and some bird dog stuff. And I wrote, like, it was one of those that it was just flowing out onto the computer. And I think in an hour and a half, I wrote 16 weeks or something like that. It had been bottled up inside. I guess it just needed to get out on paper. And it was, anyway, I've been doing the same thing when I'm home, which has not been very frequent here lately, but we did one yesterday. Me and Jordan Weekly, and he probably, I haven't talked to him today, but I bet he
that's
can't
for a reason. He probably can't walk to his phone.
Yeah.
But
that's exactly right.
It has everything. It has your strength. It has a little hypertrophy in there. It has mobility. And that's what I think, like you were saying, not just us, but I think coaches in general will read certain information that's new to them and get pumped, get excited about it, and they just go down that avenue all in. And what I've been realizing over the last 6 months, I haven't written a new program in probably that amount of time. What I've been doing is taking all of these programs I had accumulated over the last 2 years of literally myself doing that, getting excited about one method or one thing I'd read about, and writing this program, and started mix and matching and making, in my eyes, the most optimal program for me, but also for our rodeo athletes, because people can't see our back office, but if you could see the amount of programs that we have written as a team, does it have a number? Does it tell us how many there are?
I can find it really quick. So. I can figure it out.
It's something that we obviously work on regularly. That's our job, right? But it's not something that, as a team, we want to get better at it. So as a team, we are coming together and making these programs, working with each other, and just trying to dial them in. We have such good information there, but it's just been And again, we've all been just dialing this in as we go. Every single coach that's been working on rodeo specific things is
164.
Yeah, that's what I was about to 164. Some of them are 4-week, some of them are 16-week. Like
so let's go on an average. That's nuts. That's so much. That's so many.
Even if the average is an 8-week program,
we got years of workouts in there. Years. Okay. Yeah. If you're working out 24/7, we have years.
He can't not do the math. What is it?
I can't do the math that fast.
Well, I'm just saying the calculator.
164
times 8 is 1,312 weeks worth divided by, what is there, 56 weeks in a year?
52.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 1312 divided by 52. So we are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Bear down. You're going to have even more gray hair when you finish all of our programs. There's 25.2 years worth of programs on True Coach right now.
All right. So, needless to say, we have quite the bank to pull from. And the best part is, like, we're just making new ones all the time. We're just continuing to get better at it. And that's what I loved about this program, dude, is watching, first of all, your evolution as a coach with the program. But then it's just when we do the shit, we do our own workouts. We do the stuff we write. There's so many coaches that don't, dude.
Yeah.
I see some young coaches, and I'll comment on it because I have no shame. I do not care. You can be mad at me if you want. But like we said earlier, usually you'll be happy that I said that later. They'll write stuff, man, and put it on their story. Like, just wrote this. I'm going to, the clients are going to love it. I'm like, dude, have you checked the volume? What do you mean? I'm like, you literally have over 100 reps of pulling in that workout. Well, what do you mean? I'm like, you have chin-ups, you have single arm lat pull down, you have push-ups, like you have all of these things at high volumes. Who is this for? What's their goal? And usually it's just for an everyday person that wants to be fit. It's like, we need to rearrange. We need to readjust.
Does that everyday person also have 2.5 hours to work out?
No.
Because that's how long it's going to take them to get through that.
Which
in all fairness, like when I started, as I'm sure you guys can resonate, when I first started, I was going to create the best program ever. And so I can remember the first program I ever wrote, and Doug was like, okay, write a program, write a week's worth, and then call me and let's talk about it. So I did. And he was like, okay, love it, which he didn't love it, but he said that. And he was like, okay, now I want you to take it back a step. Like, these are great exercises, but let's assume that this person is not used to working out. Take it back a step. And so I'm like, okay. So I take it back a step, and we get on the call again. And he's like, hey, take it back one more step. And I was like, okay, I took it back one more step. Another call. He's like, I want you to make this for a 5-year-old. What would a 5-year-old do? And I had it so dumbed down to where I thought that nobody could ever get anything out of it. Yeah. It was the most basic, boring program that nobody would want to do, and that they weren't going to gain anything from. And clients were like, that was spot on. That was exactly what I needed. I'm sore the next day. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. And so you just learn over time that you have to take where you think people are at, and then you have to scale that back 200%. And that's usually where they really are. And then we go through a week or two of that, and you're like, hey, it's good, but I'm not getting much. Okay, I'll go up from there. Instead of expecting people to meet me where I think they should be, I need to meet them where they actually are.
Man, as a coach, that is probably the best thing you could ever learn. And if you could learn that from day one, your whole career as a coach is going to be a lot more successful. There's so much of that. And a lot of coaches, and I'm not throwing shade, I'm just saying a lot of coaches are ex-athletes. They're people that, are at this level and have trained a certain way, and they know this is,
and they enjoy working out. Like,
not everyone's like
their life. They don't, like for me, I can work out any time of day that I see fit, and I can work out for any length of time. Nobody else besides you two has that lifestyle. Nobody else can work out whenever they want to. They're going at 4:30 in the morning before work, or they're going at 8 p.m. and they need to get in there and get out. And they also need to be able to get in there and get out with 30 other people in the gym, and all the squat racks being taken by dudes doing curls. And they need to be able to move in and move out efficiently in 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes for Gen Pop. Like, some of my athletes might be in the gym for a little bit more, like 1:15 to 1.5 if we're like in the winter time and there's not a whole lot going on rodeo wise, but They want to get in and get out. And so with that being said, like I have to keep that in mind. And you know what? I want to get in and get out. Just because I can spend 2 hours working out, I don't want to. There's a lot of days where it's like 30 minutes. You know, one of the things about this new program that Doug's demoing that I've been going through too is I made it really customizable, where it's like your main lift for the day is 3 or 4 sets based on the time you have. But then you get into B and C and it's like, you know, 3 sets. And then the accessory movements, C1, C2, C3, they're 2 to 3 sets based on time. And so you can go through, I did the maximum amount of everything for the first week when I demoed it. And it took me like an hour and 5 minutes or so, somewhere around in there. Then I went through the next week and I did the minimum amount of everything. And I was somewhere around 35 minutes.
Yep.
So it's like, there you can make it as good or as big or as little as you want. And that's one of the things I think is valuable there.
Another little like tip, if you will, during those times where you don't have a lot of time, set a timer, set a clock. So if it is your first thing, you know, for these Zercher lunges, which I know what those are going to do to me, right? I know those are going to mess me up on about day 2 after I've done them. And so I've been going really light, and I've felt like a little bit of a pansy, but like the barbell the first week, 45 pounds. The second week I did 70 pounds. This week, I think I was at 95 pounds, but it's 6 reps controlled. I was feeling it. Like, I know that it's going to hurt me. So not hurt me in a bad way. If I do any heavier than that, I'm going to be sore than I'd like to be. It's going to hurt my progress. Right. And there's a rhyme and rhythm to all that, like to knowing your body. And if you haven't done this, haven't worked out a lot, just start light and master the movement. If you can master the movement, if you're doing perfect reps, the weight will come. The weight will go on. It'll get easier. You'll add weight. But the timer thing is huge. When I have 30 minutes and the first movement is 5 to 6 reps times 3 to 4 sets. Okay. It usually says rest 2 minutes on there. I'm going to sacrifice just a little bit of rest, not enough to make a dip, not to where I'm breathing hard and we're doing cardio, lifting weights, right? It's every 2 minutes, I'm going to do 5 reps of this movement, of these lunges, right? That takes me about 30 seconds to get through. I have a minute and a half to rest. I'm walking around. I'm doing nasal breathing, focusing on bringing everything back to like homeostasis for my next set. In 8 minutes, I've done the max amount of sets for that movement. Break it down. Now B, same thing. It's by itself. But if I do the max amount of sets, which is 3 sets on this, that's 6 minutes. So I'm at 15 minutes total there, not including a warm up. So say we're at 20 with the warm up. And now we're to it's 2 to 3 sets of this. It's a triplet. So three exercises. I do that 30 on, 30 off for 2 sets. So that's 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute. That's 6 more minutes. So I'm at 21 minutes. And now the optional stuff, I got plenty of time to do the optional stuff at that point. But it's all because I was really adamant about controlling the time and doing the things. Like, so many people don't, they think, you know, oh, I have 30 minutes, but what are you doing with that 30 minutes? Actually use it, you know, and there's ways that you can use it and rest and do it well and not be in this huge rush, but just, I have it timed to the literal minute, you know, we are getting out at 30 minutes. On the 30th minute, I am walking out of here and I'm done. Right. It's little things like that that are so simple you can do. People just don't.
It's the best way to train groups too. You go to a lot of like
1,000%
rooms, you know, for you know, college teams or whatever, and they're on some sort of timing, so you can get people in and get out. Those guys are on. You want to talk about on a timeline? I've got 50 football players and I've got 45 minutes, and so we don't have time to like. And they want to chat. They're not trying to like. Some of them are not trying to work. They're trying to chat and hang out. And so like keeping them on a timer where they're rotating and setting up stations, like that's one of the things that we've been doing at training camp where we have these stations. And so guys will just rotate stations every set or every 3 sets. They'll do that station for 3 sets and just rotate. And if you're on a timer, it keeps things snapping off and it keeps groups finishing at the same time. And you don't have these guys over there sitting around for 7 or 8 minutes while this group's working or finishing up. You just kind of keep everybody moving and you can control the rest by using those timers. But I think that having some sort of timer in your own personal workouts, even by yourself without a group, is valuable. And I've done the exact same thing. We did it. Paul and I did it in Vegas and we almost died because we did somebody, I don't know who, selected too little of a time interval to do the work and rest in between. And
good old 2010, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was like every 90 seconds we should do this. And I was like, it'll take us like 30 seconds.
Those are the worst.
It was like every 90 seconds we'll just rotate stations.
And you have like 7 seconds of rest.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. It turned out the exercises took a little longer than
I'm pretty sure the way I had written it too, like it was like supposed to be pretty time consolidated, and then Logan like tried to consolidate it.
That's it right there. How I wrote it, it looked good on paper, but boy,
why are we using names right now? It could have been your fault.
Oh yeah, I mean somebody, whoever wrote it,
whoever you wrote it,
and then
I just followed it. Yeah, I mean, I might have edited it a little bit, but I mean, that person.
Oh, you boys have so much to learn.
Just gave myself away.
So much to learn.
Yeah,
but hey, that's the one good thing. CrossFit methods, like that is a method taken from CrossFit. The timing, they use a lot of every minute on the minute, a lot of AMRAPs. As many rounds and reps for a certain amount of time. They do Tabata, 30 on, 30 off. Like they do all those things, and that's where I owned a CrossFit gym before I did any of this, and so group coaching was my life. Yeah. And I had classes from 5 a.m. to noon every single hour. So it was like you're saying, it had to be dialed.
Yeah.
But there's so much shit talked about CrossFit, which for good reason. But there's a lot of methods to be used that can be perfect for things like this, right? So just another example of, things we might not agree with all of the way around, but there's some good things to be taken from it.
Yeah.
I lost where we were going. I know when you guys were about to say something, but I probably distracted you too.
Something about we were talking about what we were doing in the gym.
Oh yeah,
what have you been doing in the gym?
Yeah, I think I talked about this a little bit on maybe the last episode or one before.
Yeah, Logan's been gone for a little bit.
Yeah. So. But really, like I've been really hammering like rehabbing my hip, trying to get that feeling good again, and it's been going really well. So I've been doing like kind of like push pull legs, like a version of it. I do a horizontal push pull on Monday, a vertical push pull on Friday, and a legs, like an actual dedicated leg day on Wednesday. I'm not like going super ham on like the hypertrophy stuff, so that like I'm not dead, because I am trying to make my hip better, not worse. And so but kind of just sticking to like a core 2 or 3 depending on the time frame, compound lifts on all of those things, and then if like time permitting, I'll just kind of freestyle some accessories. There's really no rhyme or reason to the accessories or anything. It's just whatever feels good that day. But the core lifts are staples, and they stay in there.
That's
sweet.
Awesome. Yeah,
it looks different all for seasons of the year. Oh, well, it's not as cool tax day. Not happy tax day, but happy spring bear opening day in Montana.
Hey,
what's up?
Oh, that's awesome.
Speaking of tax day, real quick, why do the phones like have like why do you get like a little calendar notification as if like you're celebrating a holiday?
Right.
Like tax. It's like, it's tax.
It turns out Uncle Sam is celebrating a holiday today. So there's that. Yeah.
It was Jesse that sent us that reel, wasn't it? About the government and taxes.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Dude, it was funny. I'll send it to you, Logan.
Yeah.
It was really good. But I'm excited. I'm gonna be out in the woods again, and that's where my cardio is gonna come from. I got the Whoop hooked back up.
Sick. Back on the Whoop.
On the Whoop. I just couldn't look at it when we were going through those first 4 months of baby life, because it would say I was dead, and I did not want that in my head. So I was just powered through, but I actually don't even know how I recovered last night, so I'm interested to check it out. But I always like checking the trends. I just had my blood work done. I started the different therapy for the hormones. They're doing sub-Q injections for testosterone, and super easy. However, it burns. I think it might be because I'm so lean. I really don't have that much fat to inject into. So it's just kind of right there on the muscle right from the get-go. In between that level, in between the muscle and the skin, right? But I don't know. It's different. It's easier to pin, but there's definitely a little bit of side effect for me. I don't know if that's gonna be for everybody, but just thought I'd fill everybody in on that.
I've had a lot of people reaching out and chat about since our last episode, where we kind of did a little bit more of a deep dive into hormone replacement therapy and stuff, and it's been interesting. Just the conversations that we've that I've had since then. So
It's definitely not the answer for everything, but if you are, going through those side effects and those things that we talked about in the last episode, if you haven't listened to it, go check it out. It's worth doing. And just go check on your health.
Yeah.
Like,
just go
it's
figure
in
it
your
out.
control. Go check it out. And if there is something that is off, get it fixed, and you'll be way better off for it.
Mhm.
I listened to Gary Brecka's and Rogan's podcast the other day. They just released it, and I always like listening to Gary Brecka. I haven't done a ton of research on everything that he says, but he seems very informed, and the way that he explains everything makes a lot of sense to me. He was talking about a test. I cannot remember the name of it, but it tested for heavy metals, mold, which I think is something I did not realize how big of a problem mold, I guess you call it poisoning, I don't know, is with people, and especially people that live in environments like you guys in these really hot and humid places. And I lived in Southeast Texas forever. Like I am sure that I have some kind of mold inside of me, but it's something that you could walk around with and really you'd have no idea. And the side effects are like brain fog. It could be immune system things. It could be a lot. It could be a ton of different things, honestly. And you would have no idea. And he was talking about Crohn's disease. And back in the day, they were saying that these people would get diagnosed with Crohn's disease that had no genetics, like that wasn't in their family at all. Like they would get diagnosed, and the doctors would literally say, well, their immune system just went haywire at some point in time. It just all of a sudden happened, and that was it. There was no causation, no nothing. It just happened. And as we have progressed in medicine, he was talking about not all, but a lot of these cases were due to mold and it overtaking the body and causing these things. And he was saying that basically for everything. Like a lot of these things that people are getting diagnosed with are not the actual thing that is the causation, is not the actual underlying problem. It's a side effect of what is really going on. And so he was talking about looking at that micro level of the organisms and the health and like what's actually happening, rather than just like a standard blood test isn't going to show you that, you have mold, a heavy amount of mold in your body, isn't going to show you that you have a heavy amount of heavy metals in your body. Like you have to get specific tests for that. And I don't know how much it costs, but man, it got me interested when I was listening to it. And I am highly considering doing it just to see what's going on in there.
My mom brought up something the other day. She recommended, and of course I can't remember the name of the company, but she was talking about my mom. She kind of, sometimes she jumps on a bandwagon like early, and then I'm like, oh, you're a genius. 3 months later, I'm like, well, now everybody's doing it. Sometimes she jumps on a bandwagon, and I'm like, you are crazy. And turns out she is crazy because nobody else does it, right? So, but one of the things that she brought up was mold here lately, and there's a brand of. She said that a large amount coffee is a place in which there's a lot of mold, and so especially, I mean, we're like great value coffee over here. And so, but she recommended this company, and of course I can't remember the name of it, but she had started using them, and it's like, 100% guaranteed, like mold free or something. Obviously I'm butchering. This would be a horrible commercial for them, but
I think I've seen this.
Yeah, they at any rate, she probably sent me the link. They do something special with their coffee to make sure that it is obviously mold free and all
Google
that kind of
knew
stuff.
What you were talking about, because I typed in an M and it came up mold free coffee for the first thing. That's really creepy.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty standard. I wonder if she texts that to me. Yeah, I mean Uncle Sam's always listening. So.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Nature coffee, purity coffee, bulletproof coffee.
Well, for the next episode, find that if you remember to.
Yeah.
And I think this is Vibrant Wellness Labs is what it was. It's at home, and I just randomly found it. So the heavy metal test is a urine test. So that's simple enough. What is their test menu? Holy crap. So they have so many, they do so many tests, but for their toxins, they do environmental toxins test, heavy metals test, mycotoxins test, PFAs, chemical, total tox burden test, and toxin genetic test. So I don't. You're just seeing what is in your body, but it intrigued me because he was talking about his came back and he had like jet fuel in his system. He had like all these environmental things from, whether it be travel or whatever, that over time, if they just sit in there, it's going to cause big problems. And we're in a space today that we can actually figure that out and potentially get it out of us and live a better, healthier life. So I don't know. It's all interesting. It's all quote unquote biohacking, which is very new, but I'm going to keep everybody in the loop. And if I do that or not.
Yeah, do that for sure.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be left out,
Yeah. Well, I might leave you out. I'm going to call Paul though.
Oh, of course you would.
Yeah, Paul can tell you.
You guys are forming some sort of special friendship now that I've a couple episodes of the podcast. All of a sudden, you're like, "Oh yeah, did you see that meme? Oh, don't worry, we'll send it to you." Yeah, we didn't send it to you.
We'll send it to you at a later date.
Yeah, we'll keep it in the loop later. Fine.
On a real note, though, we do need some help, and everybody listening, if you could do us a huge favor, subscribe to our show. Leave us a review, and most of all, share it with a friend that it can benefit from. We're trying to grow this podcast. We love doing it, and podcasts are hard to grow. They're actually very, very tough to grow, and the only way we can do that really is word of mouth. And all of you that are listening, we really appreciate you. But if you could send it to someone that would enjoy it, that'd be helpful for, we would love that. But until next time,
just take a screenshot and share it on your social media.
That's
That's like one of the best ways that I think that we see growth, honestly. Yeah, that's really all I had for that.
I like that. That's all I got to say about
I thought
that.
I was going to expand on that, but I'm not.
Sometimes that's all you need, buddy.
Time to go.
You should let Paul close us out today. Go ahead,
Go
Paul.
for it, buddy.
Oh,
it's 3 words.
What do you? Yeah. What do you say?
Oh my! We are 254 episodes in, and you don't know what he says?
I know the opening by heart.
Okay, well, the closing.
Yeah. Till next time, we'll catch you.
Boom.
Later.
Boom. Bye.
See you guys.